All right, welcome back to this week's episode of Making Picks. My name's Nathan. I'm here with Mark. How's it going, Mark?
What's going on, man? Doing all right. Busy week.
Yeah. Anything
Pretty
major? Anything major happened since the last time we recorded?
nothing kind
Any
of major,
big
but hey, you know
sporting
what? I mean,
events?
you officially turned the page on the 2020 NFL season, so it's just
Yeah.
weird, you know? It's like, all right, you know what? The Not last week, but the week before that, you kind of had that gap of,
Yeah.
prep leading up to the Super Bowl. So you didn't have any football.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like expected. This is like the first weekend that you're going into and where shit, no football games, Now
Right. There's nothing to talk about.
that's
Well, I mean, there's plenty of stuff
there's
to
a
talk
lot to
about.
there's a lot to
Yeah.
talk about. You got the NCAA tournament coming up here, but you're into like that dog days of winter period, and
Yeah.
where, all right, you know what? Spring training from baseball is around the corner. I get it. You still got a couple of months before NBA and hockey playoffs. You still kind of got a couple of weeks before you get into all the crazy NCAA tournament type of stuff here. It's just, look, you and I, we both live in the northeast. It's cold out. There's snow on the ground. We're living in a fucking pandemic here. Like, this is the time where you can really, go crazy if you're not careful.
That is true. Speaking of going crazy, why don't you talk about why the audience should be going crazy over this show?
Okay, well, I'll preface it kind of like this. Last week, leading into the Super Bowl, I probably gave away about $500 in prizes and gift cards and things like that. Various different social media contests, various different games that are on Statement Games. So basically, you want to stay locked in here because if you like playing games, but you don't necessarily like risking anything here, this is going to be another weekend where I could potentially give out that same amount, if not more. But you're not going to find out about it unless you kind of continue to check us out and support the Making Pick show.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
got cash to give away. Is what I'm making. Let me be
Mm,
blunt.
you're burning a hole in your wallet, huh?
Yeah, I'm burning a hole in the wallet. I need to get rid of some unwanted kind of cash. I'm looking for some cool people to give it away to, and you're basically not fucking cool if you're gonna bail out and skip. What are we, 3 minutes into the show here? So if you're
Yeah,
thinking about bailing right about now, go ahead, pal. Just
you're missing
understand
out.
this here. You're not going to win shit from us this week. So,
Yep. All right, so let's jump into our hot topics, our sports talk before we get into the, you know, who's doing better than who and
mhm.
how everyone's doing in the review of last week's game. But let's all right, we're putting a bow on the 2020 NFL season. How, you know, what do you think of 2021? What do you think of what's coming?
Well, let's just kind of start with a bow on the 2020 kind of season. Now that the Super Bowl is in the books here, like what do you, on a personal what do you do? I mean, what do you kind of lock in? Is there, I don't know. Do you start doing research for the NCAA tournament? Do you get into a YouTube or Netflix kind of rabbit hole, so to speak here? How are you filling your time now that you've gotten the IDP guys site kind of back up here? Congratulations on the relaunch and
Thank you.
things like that here. So I'm assuming that you now have some time back on your hands. What are you doing, dude? What's going on? How do you fill that void?
Well, I will say that I am into season 2 of The Sopranos. Started it 2 days ago.
Again, or have never seen it? And this is the first time
Never
you've seen
seen
it.
it before. Never watched it. I've always wanted to. Love Martin Scorsese films, love the whole mobster gangster genre
Yep.
of movies. It's always been on the list, but I just never taken that plunge. And now that I work from home, I work at a computer, I always have some sort of a video going um on my iPad to my right. It's just a TV screen. So I'm always looking for long um, you know, TV shows or pieces of content that have multiple seasons and multiple episodes.
Yep.
So I just finally kind of got around to it and loving the show. It's awesome, but that's kind of I'm filling my time with that with less sports. But I mean, my from a work perspective, like it never stops. I finished one website, I'm going on the next. This year is going to be the year of redesigning websites for myself, because I've kind of jumped up a level as far as what I can do, and now I'm going back to all of my old websites to fix them up. But from a sports perspective, truthfully, I'm looking at the NFL draft.
Okay. All right. All right.
What
It's
what
good.
about you?
I
What
mean,
are
it's gonna
you?
go quick. It's definitely gonna go. Hey, look, you know what? It's for me. It's officially hockey season. I
Okay.
do kind of. Actually, I shouldn't actually just say that, because for years I've been kind of like dismissing the basketball season just because I'm a big Knick fan here and they've always sucked. But now they're not half freaking bad. I mean, this team is kind of like growing on me. Uh, Becoming a huge, Julius Randle kind of fan. So I'm kind of into a little kind of NBA action here. Rangers, I wish they can kind of be doing a little bit better, but you know, young team starting to kind of turn things around here. I'm getting into various different things from a YouTube perspective, doing kind of a lot
Mhm.
of research, different sports shows. We've kind of talked about this kind of all off year, but I will come ahead and say this here: since you're getting into Sopranos, I fell into like this little bit of a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
If you like mob stuff here, he does it kind of like about once or twice a week, and they're only about 15 minutes, 20-minute kind of stories. But Sammy the Bull Gravano
Okay.
has his own kind of YouTube channel. The famed Gambino
Hmm.
uh, crime family underboss who worked directly under John Gotti, and he does a really good job. So I'll kind of like give him like a little bit of a plug, where it's definitely kind of like some interesting content that he puts out. It's short, it's sweet, 15, 20 minutes. You're in, you're out. Great kind of like stories, and it helps kind of keep the mind off of sports, so to speak, if you're interested in. But other than that, we'll kind of like we'll see here. New York area governor just came out, or the local government has just come out here. Madison Square Garden, Nassau Coliseum, Barclays Center, Yankee Stadium, City Field.
Hmm.
Basically, these sports arenas are now beginning to kind of like accept fans, 10% kind of like
Oh, nice.
capacity. So I don't know, maybe still a little uneasy. You have to have or show a negative COVID-19 test 72 hours, or you have to get tested 72 hours before the sporting event takes place. You'll have
Hmm.
to go ahead and present that test along with your ticket upon kind of entry into the building here. So I got my eye on that. Maybe I jump into a game. Maybe I kind of don't. We'll have to see. But
That's interesting
yeah,
for sure.
it's. I guess there's a couple of things like that I'm kind of like taking a look at. But anyway, kind of getting back to the Super Bowl, and since there's it's all over the news and things like that here. Any immediate thoughts, good or bad? Comments? Big deal? Not that big of a deal, but Brady getting drunk at a Super Bowl party. First thing that's coming to your mind here. Funny, disgusted.
Hilarious.
All right, yeah.
Hilarious. I mean, okay, he
The guy's fucking normal, That's what I'm
right.
kind of like looking at it.
And this isn't something that would have been around for like his Patriots time, because that was, a tight ship. But he goes to a team, he helps them. I mean, do the impossible. Like, whoever thought that you could just take a 7-9 team and go to the Super Bowl next year? It's hilarious. I do look at the tossing of the Lombardi trophy from one boat
Yeah.
to the other as a little. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of Lombardi trophies. I'm sure like everyone's got one. It's not like it's only one trophy like the Stanley Cup. If you saw the Stanley Cup get tossed from one
Yeah, but
boat
I
to the
think
other,
I think it's
that'd be a
I mean
problem.
the team gets their or that year or that Super Bowl gets its own Lombardi trophy, but there's only one of them.
I
It's not like
thought that
there's
there was like one that goes into like their trophy case, and then there's like a couple, like there's a few that are made.
I don't think so, man.
No? Okay.
We're gonna
Maybe
have to research that. I could be
yeah,
wrong
I'll
on
have
that
to
one
look
here.
into that.
Like for example, like the Giants don't give back their Lombardi trophy, and it's not kind of
Right,
like
right. No, I know
remodified and
that.
things like that goes into the trophy case here. But there's only one of them,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
if that thing gets dropped into, I'm not sure where they were, the
Probably one of the
bay or
canals or
the
yeah,
canals
something.
or something like that. Someone, guess what, dude? You're putting on some scuba gear and
Yeah, you're going
you're
down
fishing
there.
that thing out.
Yeah.
And
No,
there's
I
kind of like
I
been
guess I didn't realize that.
stories about like the Stanley Cup being left at the bottom of like Mario Lemieux's swimming pool and things like that, just because the guys go. So I mean, things like that have happened here, but I don't think it's happened to a point where it's gotten dropped and sank to the bottom of a lake, a river, a canal, or the ocean or something like that. But that
Yeah.
would have been awesome if that thing fell. Anyway, that's
I mean the storyline around that would have just been it would have been bigger and it would have been
oh
kind
yeah, it
of
would have been
funny,
great.
you know.
But I
And I'm
think it's
sure they would have
important. I
fished it
think
out
it's
and it would just would
yeah,
have been a story.
plenty of
But
technology now. I mean, you get
yeah.
those underwater, metal detectors and things like that, or
And I'm
sonars.
sure it's not that deep, you
Yeah, I
know,
mean, it's not like
considering
they're
how
50
in the middle of
miles
the
off of the
ocean,
coast
yeah.
of Florida and you know in the middle of the
Yeah.
Atlantic,
Right, right. But
and you have a
also
pretty good idea of where it was dropped.
think about like catching that thing. I don't know how much that thing weighs. I mean, I'd be curious but you just got a piece of metal that isn't necessarily like it's got a large object on one side and then just a cylinder, almost like throwing a large hammer, like a sledgehammer at someone,
Yep,
and then
yep.
catching that into your body. Like that had to hurt.
I look. I just thought it was good. It was actually important, especially when you're kind of like and granted, I mean the guy deserves everything, all
Yeah.
the praise that
He's the
he's
goat.
he's getting. Kind of like right now. Yeah, my favorite word. Not that he's not the goat here. I can't stand the
Yeah,
word the
yeah.
fucking goat. But anyway, I thought it was important because it shows a human side of Tom Brady and how he's not just a robot in this kind of like football
Yeah.
machine here. He does have the ability to let his guard down like a little bit and kind of like have fun here. And let's be honest here. I mean, I doubt he's had a sip of alcohol during the NFL season. I'm pretty sure it's actually
Yeah.
reported that he doesn't drink or do anything during the football season.
Right,
So
right.
think about it. The guy hasn't had a sip of liquor since what? When the training camp start?
Like
July,
August. Yeah,
July,
okay.
late
Yeah,
August, early kind
July.
of like
Yeah.
July. And just kind of like on a personal note here, it was actually like the first time. I mean, of course, I'm a recovering COVID kind of like survivor. The day after the Super Bowl, I had a little networking session just for the at a local bar. It was
Mhm.
the New York Rangers and the New York Islanders game, and we're just talking different statement games things with the bar owner and things like that, and how the platform can be utilized to just stimulate more traffic in and around the bar and keep people kind of locked in, drinking, kind of
Yeah.
doing what they're doing, and some of the things that we're looking to do as we come out of this whole COVID kind of scenario. But truth kind of can be told, that night I had a couple of beers. It was literally the first couple of drinks that I've had since Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Uh, so it had been almost December, January, 2.5 months.
Oh,
You
wow.
feel it. So I can imagine there's a difference
Yeah.
between what I was actually doing, such as kind of, hey, you know what, just having a couple different drinks here, scoping out a business kind of like an opportunity to, holy shit, we just won the Super Bowl here, and all the hard work that we've put in here.
Right.
Guess what? I'm letting loose here. It's almost like you're 18 years old again, just graduating high school for the first time, or graduating kind of college, or getting married, or whatever it is here.
Right.
Completely different set of circumstances, a ball game
So,
here. So good for Tom Brady for letting
yeah.
loose a little.
What I like about Tom Brady is have you seen his Twitter presence?
I
Do you
haven't.
follow him?
I
Okay.
don't.
I would highly recommend it because while, most of these athletes, they don't really put out much or anything of importance or use. Tom Brady is very good at social media, and he actually he quote tweeted the video of him stumbling out of that area, and he said he's something like the avocado tequila was flowing, but he typed it like he was like with capitals in the wrong area, misspelled words, like as if he was slurring, and it was perfect. It was funny. It was hilarious. He's very good with, and I mean, I would imagine, I don't think he's got like a publicist or anything doing that. I think that's actually him, because it's not like he tweets all the time or puts anything promotionally out there. It's just always some type of meme, and it's funny.
Hey, got a little good, got some character to him. Just good to see, when players of all different sports and spectrums kind of like have a little fun with that here. But
Yep.
hey, you know what? Congratulations to Tampa. Super Bowl kind of champions. The city of Tampa Bay turning into kind of championship city now. Tampa Bay Lightning defending their Stanley Cup title. You had the Rays basically advance and come pretty close to winning the Super Bowl. Now you actually have the Bucks. From a
Mhm.
Lightning kind of perspective here, one of the clear cut favorites to potentially repeat as Stanley Cup kind of championship. So repeat as Stanley Cup champion. So a nice little sports culture taking
Yep.
place within the Tampa kind of area. And then also, I mean, we could actually even talked about this in our, I guess, Statement Games live show here, and I do kind of want to talk about it, a little bit more, maybe kind of next week here. But news out that the Toronto Raptors are no longer playing any of their home games in the city of Toronto. They're playing in Tampa Bay. So Tampa Bay now
Okay.
has a basketball team too. So things continue to be on the up and up for the
Yep.
city of Tampa. A little bit of a shame what's taking place with the Raptors and the fact that, hey, it's just too much of a challenge to clear protocols between the border crossings going back and forth between Canada and the U.S. So
Right.
we'll have to see how that whole thing kind of plays out here. But hey, they got some basketball taking place in the city of Tampa Bay. And speaking of kind of basketball, I guess the other thing that I thought was important with the news here, with all this stuff kind of going on, any immediate thoughts one way or another on the NBA playing the All Star game in the days of a pandemic?
You know,
It's taking
I
place in Atlanta. Not going to be any fans or anything like that.
yeah, I feel like an NBA All-Star game, not that it matters, but is more entertaining. It like is probably the most entertaining of the All-Star games. Because like the NFL Pro Bowl, I mean, didn't happen this year, but no one ever watches it. Like I've remember going over to friends' houses and watching the NBA All-Star game and being like, "Hey, this is cool. It's competitive." You take five guys, you don't need to practice that much to get into a rhythm and put on a competitive game. Much different with, NFL, like you can't really just cobble together a team. A lot of these positions are based off of, how you feel the person next to you. So I'm okay with it. I like it if they can do it in such a way that's, I mean, they're already playing against each other. What's the difference? It's not like you're bursting the bubble.
Well, it's kind of like an arrest. I mean, I can see the point that LeBron James was actually making is like, what teams like the Lakers and things like that here. It's not like it was an extensive off season and where
Yeah.
they're just coming out of the bubble and NBA kind of championship. Very quick turnaround between the end of last year and the start of this one. You know,
Yeah.
pandemic, extra travel. Is it the smartest thing to actually do? But in the same kind of breath here, all right, you know what? Guys like LeBron and players kind of like within the NBA, we'll go ahead and cancel the All Star game here. But guess what? We're gonna have to kind of cut your contracts by anywhere between, I don't know, 5 and 10% to make up the
Right.
difference from the lost revenue that we could potentially be generating from the All Star game, which gives us an opportunity to fulfill additional sponsorship obligations by hosting that game here. Well, then, by all means, go ahead and kind of do it. But I do kind of get both sides of the coin here. We'll probably spend some more time on
Yeah.
the All Star game as we get closer to it. But
Yeah. I mean, you're getting paid for a job. You're doing the job. This is just it happens every year. Like you're not it's nothing special. It's not the pandemic all-star special, that they just decided to put on this year. So I don't know. I think people, if you're gonna do it, and people need to be entertained right now. You know, everyone's got to stay in. They can't go out and do all the great things that they used to be able to do. I just think that it's not, and it's not like you're transporting every player in the league. So
Yeah. All right. Well,
those are my
we'll
thoughts.
see. All right. I know you've been chomping at the bit here. You wanna review some stuff?
Yeah, yeah. Let's get in here.
I mean, I think from your particular perspective here, it's more of an addition by subtraction type of scenario. It's not like you
Yeah.
improved. It's
Well,
more of the fact that
if we got rid of those bonus picks, it would look better for both of us.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, looking back at it now, I mean, I don't think I'd be extremely remiss, and I would actually call a lot of bullshit on people who claims to have predicted the outcome of that game the way that it actually went ahead and turned out. But anyway, reviewing the Super Bowl picks, not necessarily the most productive week for me here. I nailed the first pick out of the chute here. I had
Which was
Travis
stolen
Kelce.
from me.
That's correct. I stole it, and I am taking that little check mark and I'm running with it. I had Travis Kelce over 6.5 receptions. That was correct. He wound up finishing the game with 10 receptions for 133 yards. Clyde Edwards and Williams. I had the under 65.5 rushing yards. To my defense there, I did go ahead and project that they would not have more than 13 carries throughout the course of that game. Looks like I won the battle but lost the war. And from the perspective
Hmm.
of both of them combined only had 11 combined carries for a total of 69 yards. So, of course, 69 is greater than 65.5. Incorrect on that one. Was all over the Chiefs laying the 3.5, and I was all over the Chiefs basically putting up more than 30.5 points. And pretty much, guaranteed a Chiefs blowout in that game. Couldn't have been more wrong. Final score, Chiefs 9, which was well short of 30.5. Tampa Bay 31. Which obviously means that they didn't cover the 3.5 point spread as well. On the other hand, you had Leonard Fournette over zero point 0.5 TDs. That was correct.
Yep.
16 carries, 89 yards. One of those 16 carries turned out to be a TD. You had Clyde Edwards over 0.5 TDs. That was incorrect. No TDs at all for the Chiefs
Oh,
as
well,
a team, which
yeah, that
think
was
about
just
it.
bad.
No team. The Chiefs did not score a TD in the Super Bowl. So
Yep.
you also had the Tampa Bay defense having over 2.5 sacks. You completely called out the fact that how the Chiefs were struggling or would potentially struggle with some offensive linemen out of that Super Bowl game, torn Achilles, things like that, sideline here. But after all that stuff here, they only had 3 sacks, so you nailed it. But
Just
it's not like
got
they
it.
had, yeah, it's not like you had 8.
Right, right.
And then you also had the KC defense over 1.5 turnovers, which was incorrect. They didn't actually have any turnovers at all. I mean, Brady was pretty damn
They
freaking
were
good in that Super
close.
Bowl.
They had a couple. There was at least one pick that was called back.
That was called back. Yep.
Yeah. So
Yep.
that's if it wasn't for stupid other people doing holds and all that kind of stuff, I might have been able to get this. But so where are we at for the year? Come on.
So for the year, I am 17 for 28. I am still making picks at a success rate of 61%, which is actually down from last week going into the Super Bowl. I was making picks at a 66.6% correct rate. And, 2 correct for you. So 14 for 28 on your end here. Still making picks at 50%, which is what you were at last week here. So no harm, no foul on your end. You're at 50%, and I have decreased. I've gone from
Yeah.
about 67% to 61.
And there now the difference between us is only 3 picks, 3 correct picks. So all of that talk, all of that chatter, starting at the beginning of the year, here I come.
All right.
But with that, let's do it again. We got the Brooklyn Nets versus the Golden State Warriors. What are you seeing in that game?
Well, like we had talked about here, we are now turning the page on the NFL, and we're going to be kind of doing even more on other sports. Kicking off kind of this week with another NBA game again. You got Kevin Durant on the Brooklyn Nets making his return to the Golden State Warriors for the first time as a Brooklyn Net. He actually has battled some COVID kind of issues. Actually, not COVID issues, but I guess placed in COVID protocols
Mhm.
after having been exposed to the COVID virus. So he has returned to practice with the team today. We're recording this on Friday. He should be ready to go for Saturday's game. Golden State, kind of like perspective here. They are kind of like playing at home. This is a nationally televised primetime game on ABC. There's some new chatter about the excellent play of Steph Curry and how he's kind of like entering into the fray of MVP conversations.
Ooh.
We'll see how it goes
Mm.
here, but he just had another monster day the other night here. He put up 40 points in a 111-105 win over the Orlando Magic just yesterday. So I'm kind of curious. Wiseman is out for Golden State. I
Yep.
would have liked to kind of see the big man kind of match up against some of these guys over here. We know that the Brooklyn Nets have some extreme kind of problems on the defensive side of the ball. Expecting a lot of points. I'm expecting some friendly animosity to be taking place from the Golden State side of things here as they kind of welcome a friendly face or a familiar face back into the Golden State kind of confines. Interesting game. We're going to have like a lot of these things here. I think the NBA is actually doing a pretty good job in putting up some interesting storylines and some interesting kind of games from a Saturday night ABC perspective.
Yeah. This game is being sponsored by the Statement Games VIP program. Um, and if you're a VIP member for Statement Games and the overall tournament winner, you'll receive a bonus of 1,000 coins redeemable for any gift card of your choosing. For VIP membership inquiries, contact Mark here at marketing@statementgames.com. So go into a little bit more, like how are we playing? What are people playing for? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, sure. So Statement Games is accessible, statementgames.com. We also have apps that complement statementgames.com. So if you search on Statement Games Fantasy Sports, whether in the Google Play or App Store, we'll kind of pop right up here. This is a free-to-play game. What we do is we create games around individual sporting events. So, for example, we got the Nets and the Golden State Warriors. I'm physically going to present you with anywhere between 55 to 60 different prop picks, player props and game props. So anything from the Brooklyn Nets over or under 120 points, for the game here. Andrew Wiggins over or under 20 and a half points. The Golden State Warriors will have over or under 5.5 steals. You're going to actually go through this list and you're going to pick 10 props. And as you make your 10 picks, you're going to rank them in order of confidence from 10 through 1. So as this basketball game plays out, if your number 10 pick becomes correct, you're going to get 10 points. If 9 through 1 are incorrect, well, now you just have a total of 10 points. You're going to play in a league of anywhere between 8 to 12 people, and the person with the most points from correct picks at the end of that sporting event wins. You're competing for what we call Statement Games coins. You get coins by finishing in the first, second, or third inning of the tournament. And eventually, you're going to want to take these coins and cash them out for a cash gift card of your choice. So the whole Statement Games rewards platform is powered by about 80 to 85 different merchants. NBA Store, Nike, Under Armour, Amazon, Google Play, Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts. You simply exchange your coins for a cash gift card of your choice. So we're talking about this little game kind of right here. Good luck to everybody. And hey, you know what? I've cooled off like a little bit in terms of making picks here, but you seem to kind of be heating up. But
Yeah. It's all
making
about
picks with
heating up
caution
at
and
the
good
right
luck.
time. Just like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you got to heat up at the right time.
Yep, yep.
But okay. So you're cooling off, I'm heating up, and all that chatter from earlier in the year. I mean, it's starting to shift from me to you. But what happens when
Yeah.
people come at us?
Well, you're basically just messing with kind of like the wrong people. So you got to understand that, when you're messing with us and our pick making ability, not only are you messing with us, you're messing with.
All right, here we go. Let's get into some picks. Why don't you kick it off there, Mark?
I mean, look, I'm expecting kind of a lot of points here, and prime time kind of spotlight for Golden State. I like the way that Curry is kind of playing here. So if I kind of lock in, I'm gonna take a look at the 3 point line. So that's the category that I'm kind of looking at here.
Yep.
So let's just go ahead and take Golden State over 15.5 3 point field goals.
All righty. Okay. So while you're going to do that, I think that this could be a high scoring affair. Um, I think that, Steph Curry's kind of the whole team right now. So I like the Nets to win, and I'm going to take them to win over 5.5 points. What do you got?
Okay. Let's see here. Again, coming back away from the team, kind of a little bit here. I know that he's kind of rested and things like that here. I'm taking a little bit of flyer on this one here, but given that some time off, first time back, maybe like a little rest here. Let me go ahead and take a look at the points category, and I'm going to take Kevin Durant under 28.5 points.
Under 28.5. All righty. So I'm going to stick here in the points category as well. And like I said, Steph Curry's kind of being the whole team in the past couple games, especially with his big man out. I'm going to go and have him over 29.5 points.
Okay. All right.
What do you got?
And I really don't think that the Brooklyn team plays any defense whatsoever here. I think this is kind of like a little high. So let's go into the defensive category. I will lock in as my third pick the Brooklyn Nets under 8.5 steals.
All right. And my last one here. I think there's going to be a lot of points, and I think, but yeah, between both teams, maybe not a lot of defense. And the Golden State just lost their leading rebounder, is that big man in the middle. So
Wiseman.
I'm actually going to say that no Golden State Warrior will have a double double.
Okay.
And that leaves us that there it is. That's our picks. We'll off air put in our last four to give us some amount of competitive advantage. But if you are playing in the Brooklyn Nets versus Golden State Warriors contest and you see SG Live, just know that you're playing against Mark and I, and try and beat us. Tell us what you think about our picks. Let's get some conversation and some competition going. Tell us how bad Mark's picks are and how good mine are. But yeah, so we'll complete that and put that out. But make sure that you're watching SG Live, our other show that we put out each week, where we go into more of the behind the scenes of Statement Games, as well as what it's like to be an entrepreneur in the sports industry and content creation and stuff like that. We give some insight into the market as well as some advice on just working in that space. Follow on social media at Statement Games. Subscribe on YouTube, Statement Games Inc. And obviously play statementgames.com on desktop or on the mobile device, mobile apps, iTunes, Android, what have you. But Mark, it's been a pleasure talking some sports again, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, just real quick here. So I'll go ahead and make the offer. I did promise the ability for other people to win cash. So you got to be following us on social media. I'll probably be giving out some $50, $100 kind of gift cards throughout tomorrow night's game here. And anybody who actually subscribes to the Statement Games channel and gets somebody else to subscribe to the Statement Games YouTube channel, if you go 10 for 10 with your picks, I'll give you $100.
Nice.
First entry only, though.
Gotcha.
Got to be your first kind of entry. But hey, you know what? Little, have some fun with it. You you guys, it's just the game, and let us know what you
make
think.
sure you're watching this show every week. We go through and pick a game and put out our our thoughts and our props. So, but yeah, Mark, been a great show, and talk to you next week.
All right, catch you later.